How's it going? So I just want to make this video like it's probably like I don't know, it's a comical video I suppose, right? How do the wealthy make money on paper, right? So we're looking at the house. It's 295,000 euro. Location. Honestly, I'm surprised that this house is so cheap. It's 12 bedrooms and it's huge because it's within driving distance of a Waterford. So Waterford is like this is Ireland. Waterford is a bit of a village, but not too crazy, right? It is kind of it's a remote location, right? But it's within driving distance, right? And look at this, like it's fully furnished, like house. Do you see? Like it's quite good. I mean, you have gigantic back garden. It's already kind of painted, decorated for you, so it's fully ready. And then there is also this thing, and another shed, which is like. So you could easily just buy this thing, right, and then put like 3 million, add 3 million to the sale price, and then put it up on this website here. I think this website here will accept it without a survey. Or I'm not sure if this one will accept it, but I mean there are some. What's another one? Property.ie, dev.ie, myhome.ie. Yeah. So you see, like, there are a lot of locations where you can actually sell your house, right? And some of them, like, if you look at how to sell your property, so the core thing is property valuation, right? So if you have some kind of a dude that can stamp this property as 3.2 million, right? You're good to go. You know what I'm saying? So you just made 3 million out of thin air just because you have a. It's corruption, I know, but like you have a dude who can stamp your house as being 3 million as opposed to being 2.95 thousand, right? So this is how a lot of those millionaires, right? I noticed, like, because I'm much older than most people on YouTube that watch videos, right? So a lot of wealth is on paper. It's called capital gains, right? I'll give an example of if you watch this Undercover Billionaire, right? Especially season 2, you will see a lot of that nonsense happening in season 2, right? This Undercover. Because these guys here, right? They created business basically out of thin air, and then their friends, their friends valuated their business as 1 million. So it's not the question of whether the business is worth 1 million. It's the question is, what's the valuator who valuing it puts it as, right? So you see, like, this house currently is valued 295, but if you have some kind of a friend, real estate agent, who is corrupt, and you kind of just, you give him the, what is it called, the brown envelope under the under the table, he can put this house to be 4 million, right? So the problem is that's why when a lot of those millionaires, they go bust, right, and they have to sell their assets, a lot of people cannot get their money back because they find out that the business doesn't, like, it was valued on paper for 2 million, but in reality it's like it doesn't cost anything, right? It has no assets. Like in this Undercover Billionaire, I think her business, I didn't watch the whole thing because it was so bizarre, it was so outside of the reality, I didn't even want to watch it. I just scrolled through it to the end, and I think her business was valued at like 1 something million, and she had like no customers. absolutely zero customers. And I was just like, dude, like, who's doing the valuation? Right? Imagine like she goes to the bank, borrows $1 million, bankrupts, right? Then bank tries to sell her business and it realizes it has no customers, right? So that's the same thing in here. Like it's exactly the same. It's just on paper. Like I'll give you an example how crypto scams, how do they work? You have like, I don't know, 100 people in a scam, right? They create, I don't know, some fluff coin, okay? They create, because they control usually currency exchanges, or they control the manufacturing of the coin. They will say create, let's say 10 million. Well, let's do 100 million of these coins, right? 10 to the power of 6. So that's the supply. So current price is going to be 0, right? But then what those 100 guys do, people in scam, so they're 100. What they do is they start slowly buying it, right? And then the price becomes... Now, so you're asking, how do you manipulate the price of something on a stock exchange? Now, on stock exchange, the price reflects the last purchase, okay? So people think that there is some kind of valuator that goes in and he's like, oh, I'm going to analyze the fundamentals of the business and the basket of goods and the basket of businesses in this index, and I'm gonna set the base price for the stock, right? Let's say index fund. It doesn't work like that at all, right? What happens is somebody buys it at 50 and that's the price. Somebody then buys it at 60, that's the price. Somebody buys it at 30, that's the price. So, right? So the market sets the price. So if somebody is willing to sell it at 30, that's going to be the price, right? And somebody is willing to buy it at 30, that's going to be the price, right? So there is constant kind of battle between buyers and sellers, and that's what sets the price. But because we're scamming, we can make the price whatever the hell we want it to be, right? So let's say I buy your fluff coin for, I don't know, 500 euro, right? So what's your net worth now, right? So that's going to be your net worth. What is that, 50 billion or something? So that's you, okay? And because these guys keep buying it, like, I don't know, for like a week or something, this price holds. Or it can even go to, I don't know, 700, right? Then other people gonna see the trend that the price keeps rising over time, right? Because these guys are buying it over time at higher and higher and higher and higher prices. Your net worth is just gonna skyrocket. And you essentially created money out of thin air. Right, because that's what... If you look at the current scams, which is like FTX, that's how they were doing it. That's like effectively that's how they were doing it, right? That's why this is a problem, because when they go into liquidation, you realize that those fluff coins, no one is gonna buy them at 700, and these guys are out, right? These guys are out. They're either in prison, or they already sitting somewhere in Bermuda, drinking pina colada, right? So there are no buyers at that price. So the effective price without these guys is 0. That's the effective price. But on paper, it's this, because these guys made it to be. All right. If you want to see this in action, I'll show you where you can find it, right? You can look at the latest one, which is, I'm not sure if it's the latest one, but you can find it in here basically. Yeah, CryptoZoo, right? You can look at those 3 videos, and you will see this mechanism being created, right? Now, I used to think you can look at the volume of transactions, and you can say, okay, the volume is just too small, right, for this price to make sense. But the problem is with these guys, because a lot of them they have a lot of money, and they are buying and selling to each other, and most of the time they control the exchange, so they can kind of refund each other the fees, because they are the guys who are getting the fees. Like that, because exchanges, they charge fees for transactions, but because they control the exchange, it doesn't apply to them, right? So they can kind of buy and sell to each other in quantities that are just astronomical. And again, I strongly encourage you to watch this, and you will see that this is exactly how these guys were doing it, like FTX people, right? It's just that it's exactly the same. That's what I'm saying, is that you see it, somebody can go and put like 3 million on this house, but it's not really, that's not the value. That's what I'm saying. Capital gains, like, I used to be a big fan of capital gains, but now I realize it's just it's money that are not, it's money on paper, right? That's why I think cash flow is a lot better, because cash flow is actually real, right? Because example, like dividend payments or rent payment, it's something that is actually tangible, right? It's something you can, if you go into liquidation, that cash flow will continue to go, right? And it's very hard to fake it, because it's real money. It has to come from somewhere, right? Whereas this is just complete garbage. All of this is just complete garbage. That's why also you see when you look at valuations and somebody's like, oh, my house is worth like 1.2 million. Yeah, on paper it does, but when you're gonna try to sell it, I beg to differ, right? I beg to differ, because your house is only valued at what the person is willing to pay for it, right? So if somebody puts it for 3.2 million on paper, I doubt you'll get a buyer, right? But on paper it's gonna look good. So it's just my 2 cents on how you can kind of Insta billionaire, right? Fluff coins, million supply, pump the price to whatever. Basically buy 1 unit at whatever price, 100 euro, right? And now boom, now you have a 10 billion net worth. And that's it. Done. Take care.